We are counting down the top 10 roadblocks to the relationships that we want. I've already covered 4 of them. Go back and watch some of the previous videos, and we still have more to go. And I can't wait to hear which ones are landing for you. So please share in the comments and tell me which ones are hitting close to home. Hopefully, our goal isn't to get through all of these and be like, no, 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 no. Our goal is to be honest and be like, ooh, yeah, that one kind of made me squirm a little bit. So yeah, they might not be fun and uplifting, but they're so important because we want the intimacy that's on the other side. So number 6 is in the same vein. It's that actually how often we try to avoid uncomfortable emotions. That is a roadblock because we know from every relationship structure that's out there, from all the research, we see that it's not the avoiding of conflict or disappointment or hurt feelings that builds intimacy. It's learning how to handle those things. It's learning how to navigate them and to go through them. What does it look like for us to disappoint each other and still come back and find our way of being? How do we practice forgiving each other? How do we negotiate what we each need and can give and can do? These are hard. We have not been taught the skills. No, no. Most of us have never had a conflict management class or knowing how to have these hard conversations. And even if we've gone to counseling and learned certain systems, still so hard to do, especially when we feel like our needs aren't being met. But you can't get to intimacy with only laughter and joy and fun and happiness and affirmation. As important as those are, and I'm going to talk about those in an upcoming roadblock a little bit more because they are so important. And yet, if we dismiss every relationship when the uncomfortable emotions come in, we are not going to have intimacy, I promise you. You can't have the positive without having the painful. You can't have just the pleasant without having some of the uncomfortable. We are humans. We have all of the emotions. There's nobody out there walking around that just brings one of them. And if they do, they're not in touch with all of their emotions. And so we absolutely have to learn how not to avoid uncomfortable emotions, but how to lean in and interact and respond and love through those uncomfortable emotions. So if you're somebody who anytime you're like, I don't do drama, oh, if they're going to disappoint me, believe them when they say that, just walk away from them. If we just walk away and just kind of call everybody who leaves us feeling icky or uncomfortable, if we just want to call them toxic, we are not going to have intimacy. Did you know, I quote this research a lot. There was one study where 84% of us claim to be friends with a toxic person, and yet when you ask how many of us are toxic, none of us think we are. So we're either all friends with the same 16% of people, or it's possible that somebody else thinks we're the toxic one. We all have a tendency to show toxic behaviors, or just even not toxic. It's just pain. It's just humanity. It's hurt feelings. It's not getting needs met and trying to find our way through that. And so if this is resonating with you, your work is to start saying, how can I build a stronger skill set for showing up and allowing there to be hurt and disappointment and believing that we can still make our way through this, and believing not just that we can survive this, but that we might feel closer on the other end, and believing that this is an important skill to develop, that I will be a better person for going through this process. These are muscles I need to practice, and I'm going to learn more about myself in this process. I'm going to learn more about my friend in this process. This is a good thing to go through. Hard to do, isn't it? Oh, we would just rather be like, oh, I don't want to deal with it. And we do that so often. We just swallow it, we even call it being a bigger person, taking the high road, and that's just a cop-out. We just often say that because what we're really saying is, I just want to avoid uncomfortable feelings. And so I invite you to look at one of your relationships, look at your pattern, and to say, what would it look like for me to hold disappointment rather than walk away from it, rather than let it be a roadblock? Picture the debris on the road and say, if I can get some of these uncomfortable emotions, being comfortable with them, then they're not going to be obstacles for me anymore. I can go anywhere. I can drive down this road. I can keep driving. There's nothing no emotion that can be put on the table that I can't continue to drive toward intimacy on. We're so much more powerful than we think we are. We don't need to be scared of tears. We don't need to be fearful of hurt feelings. We can show up and we can do this. We absolutely can. So, roadblock number 6, let's do everything we can to start being more comfortable with the uncomfortable feelings.